January.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Market of the Moment update with Michael Oldham, Chris Madrid. How you doing today, Chris?
Hey, so good. And I got the beanie on. So, it's a negative 50 degrees in Texas today. I don't know, whatever the news said.
It looks like winter wonderland behind you.
Oh yeah, so great. So great.
Well, we're going to do our end of January update. Got some actual real estate figures for you today. Chris and I were talking earlier about interest rates, so we've got some info on that. So let's go ahead and get into it. Chris,
yes.
What
Man,
are the
it's
rates?
hard to believe that we are already at the end of January.
I know.
It's just time's flying by. Hey man, it's good to be here as usual. It's just not looking good, right, for mortgage rates. Anyway, it is what it is, right? I expected rates to be at kind of these levels 10 years ago. So the fact that that we're here now is all gravy, I guess, with rates staying low for so long. But yes, again, as we have been talking and have really been expecting, right, for a while, rates are now moving up into probably into the 4% range. We're still best execution, assuming excellent credit. Excellent credit is normally 740 and above. You're still in that middle 3 range for mortgage rates, right? Less than the 740, you're closer to probably 4% at this point, because there is something that's called a loan level pricing adjustment. And if your credit score falls below that 740 range, then that loan level pricing adjustment does increase what rate you're eligible for, essentially. So that would put you closer to that 4% mark. And again, from a consensus, we're all expecting mortgage rates to move higher this year, right? Again, that it's not gonna disqualify you from being able to purchase a home. At the end of the day, it's just gonna cost a little bit more from an interest perspective. And from a plus side, if you need a bigger tax deduction, it's gonna be great, right? You pay higher interest, you get a higher deduction on your taxes, so it's not all bad. But again, we do fully anticipate mortgage rates to continue to head north through the remainder of this year, possibly next year. Obviously the Fed is trying to combat inflation, and the quickest way to do that is raise mortgage rates and kind of slow down the economy, because it's running 14 house fire right now. So whatever that is. But again, it's not going to disqualify you from being able to purchase a home. It'll just cost a little bit more right now.
So yeah, one thing Chris and I was talking about before coming on was, during all of our discussions these months and talking about interest rates, we've always been talking about people with a 740 or above credit score. You have to remember, when we're talking about 3.5 to 3.8%, that's if you have excellent credit. If you're below that, then as Chris was saying, you're pushing more toward probably a 4% at this point. So
yeah.
So I want to take a second, show a little video about pre-approval. It's been important, not just in this market, but ever since I've been in real estate for 6 years. It's been important to have a pre-approval letter going into the process of even looking at homes. And now it's even more important to not only have a pre-approval letter, but to already be through underwriting. So for me, this video is a little bit conservative of what you should be doing in this market. So we'll take a quick look at it, and then Chris is going to just talk real quick about the difference in the different types of approvals that you can get.
Yeah. Yeah. So that, I mean, again, it talks about, the importance of pre-approval. And I would, like you and I were talking, I'd take it a step further where, a lot of what we're doing right now is what Guaranteed Rate calls a commitment to lend, right? It's a full blown, underwriting approval. And again, I would, obviously encourage, anyone watching this video, if you call a mortgage company and they have you submit an application online or over the phone, and then they send you a pre-approval letter and that's it, that's all you've had to do, I would be concerned. I'd be worried, right? In this day and age, you need to make sure they're obviously reviewing credit. They're reviewing your actual income documentation. Oftentimes, I get asked like, oh my gosh, why do you need so much documentation up front? And I'm like, well, you're asking a bank or mortgage company to offer or to lend you $500,000 to $1 million, right? And it's no different than if you had someone coming to you asking for $100,000, right? You're going to want to know they can pay it back at the end of the day. Yes. So again, that's the reason, and more so in this, in the market that we're in. I mean, I talk to listing agents all the time, going through, again, we don't share any type of, personal information, but I talk to listing agents and let them know, hey, this is what we've done for our customers, for our buyers, essentially, right? We've reviewed pay stubs, we've matched that with their W-2s. We have, looked at their credit report extensively to make sure that there's no, nothing that's going to come up down the road. And then ultimately we verified assets, right? They have the funds that are needed for their down payment and closing costs. And obviously in the environment that we're in, potentially to cover the difference of an appraisal as well, right? So, if you're going up against Mr. Customer, right? If you're going up against one of our conditionally approved buyers, right? And they have been fully vetted on the lending side. We've reviewed pay stubs and bank statements and W-2s and credit, all that stuff. And someone like me has made a phone call to the listing agent to say, hey, we've done all these things. Oop, power's dead. There we go. We have, we've reached out to the listing agent and let them know, hey, these are the things that we've done for our buyer. And you just have a pre-approval from Quicken or from someone else that all you did was submit an online application. Most likely our conditionally approved buyer is going to get accepted over that basic pre-qual or pre-approval. So we cannot, express the urgency of getting your documentation in quickly. And then two, having that, a full-blown underwriting approval. And if your loan officer, your lender's telling you they can't do it, that's why you have, us. So, a lot of mortgage companies don't like doing them. And ultimately they don't understand the nature of the market, right? Yeah. So that's why, you work with guys like us that have been in the business for a really long time. We know what we're doing. And, more often than not can get that offer accepted over others.
Yeah. I know as a buyer's agent, it's great to be able to have someone like Chris advocating for you as a buyer when he can call, often knows the listing agent, and he can basically go to bat for you. They trust him, thus they're going to trust your financing. And then on the flip side, as a listing agent, it's always great to be able to reach out to a local loan officer and know that they have vetted your potential buyer and that the loan is going to close. And if it doesn't, it's not going to be because of the financing of the deal. So just Amy and I talk to buyers all the time. We always encourage them to get through underwriting, get this commitment to lend. Because like Chris says, if you're up against 7, 8, maybe 15 other offers, and you've got that commitment to lend, that's going to put you most likely at the top of that seller's offer list. So, absolutely. All right, so let's move on into our current real estate trends. Last couple of weeks, we really haven't shared strong data from the different counties. We've kind of been talking about the nature of the market at this time, but today we back to our county by county stats. as we go start looking into this last week's stats, so to remember that a healthy real estate market is a 6-month supply of inventory. And you're going to see why prices are going up at the rate they are, and why they're probably going to continue to go up at these rates. So just here in Collin County, the Plano, Frisco, Prosper, Salina, this region that we live in, we're looking at 102.6%, almost 3% over list price. Remember, these are averages. So at 2.6, that means that there's some selling at 100 and some selling at probably 105, or anywhere in between. So depending on that particular market, I just ran some comps in a McKinney neighborhood, and you're still looking at 5 to 7% over asking in that neighborhood. So it's going to vary.
Yeah, so there was this neighborhood in and I can't remember off the top of the specific neighborhood, but in Frisco, this thing sold, right, and again cash 30% over list, right? So this was a 650 list, and it sold for 850.
Yeah,
800 to 850, something like that, which is, again, it's going to be different per neighborhood, per city.
Yeah, and I think we've talked about it before, probably even shown some comp examples on here that it is not uncommon to find a 20% over asking outlier, in your comps. So I know of, some comps I ran where a home was listed at 550 in Prosper and it closed at 700. So 150,000 over asking. But in Collin County, we're 7 days on market. Just remember that is from the moment it is listed on MLS until it goes under contract is 7 days. And this is an all-time low for me in real estate to see a half a month supply of inventory. That has to do with builders. We've talked about builders are behind on inventory, and a lot of the story is people just are worried about where they're going to go on a new build, or if there's nothing on the market, you don't have a lot to choose from. So a lot of people are staying. You probably read this stat yesterday as well, but I read where nearly 43% of American households now have, I think they call it super equity, where basically they have 2 times payoff, of value in their homes. So anyway, I think that had jumped from 30% the year before. So in 1 year, 12% of households gained that equity. Moving over to Denton County, our neighboring county to Collin, it actually, since we started doing these, started kind of catching up in a more negative way to Collin County. Actually, days on market is fewer, 6 days on market in Denton County, meaning they're going under contract quicker, probably because you can still maybe get a little bit of a value there, although homes are still going at just over 2% over list. And Denton County's monthly supply dropped to 0.6. I believe last time we did this, it was around 0.8 to 0.9. So Dallas County, we've talked before, Dallas County, very big county, lots of price points in it. Collin County, your price points are probably a lot closer, but varying price points going to lead to some little different numbers. But 0.8 months supply of inventory, Dallas County, very surprising that it had dropped to that. Still getting close to 100% of list price and 10 days on market. And then Grayson County to our north, we're at 98%. So you can still possibly buy under list price, but I'd say this is probably also a little skewed due to the rural nature of Grayson County. And if you go to Sherman, Denison, you're going to be paying probably closer to the Denton and Collin County list price. You're probably going to be looking at going a little over list to get a newer home in those areas.
Yeah.
But 14 days on market in Grayson County, and they do have 1.5 months supply, which leads to that first figure being able to possibly buy under list. Our counties out to the west, Tarrant and Parker. Tarrant County, you're looking at just over list price at 100.7%, 9 days on market, and a 0.7 month supply in Tarrant County. So you can see all these metroplex counties trending very much the same way. Parker County, we've discussed before, more rural, like Grayson. So you're going to have a little higher day on market, going to have just under list price, and you're going to have a little higher supply at 1.6. But most of that is due to the rural nature of the county. You get into Weatherford, Brock, some of the cities there in Parker County that people are really looking to get into. You're still going to be in a competitive market where you're probably paying over list. So you got anything to add on any of those?
No, again, I mean, it's, like we've been talking, man, I feel like last year you could have purchased, your typical 3-bed, 2-bath and, Sherman Denison for, for the low twos. And I feel like, now those are hitting, mid twos to, to now that upper twos. So, there's still opportunities out there. Sticking your head in the sand and waiting for things to get, cheaper and rates to go down. It's just not that's just, you need to, obviously jump in now. There's still plenty of, time for you to build equity. Like we've talked before, I don't see the market here locally, North Texas, right, slowing down for at a minimum 4 to 5 years, right? And even if it slows down, that just means we're back to our regular pace of equity gains. I don't, for the foreseeable future, I don't ever see a downturn coming. And this being, I've been in the business since the last, downturn in 2008, 2009. So, the idea of I'm just going to wait, it's not a great idea, because it's just going to end up costing you more, right? You're going to get less square footage for more than what you could have probably done this year. So don't wait, would be my advice.
Certainly. Any lending questions, reach out to Chris, 214-734-1531. He can get you on the process of the commitment to lend. Chris can also help you with long-term rate locks if that is something you could use, because your new build is
if you're building
6
for
to 8 months out.
Absolutely.
So, and then always reach out to Amy and I, 469-369-0873. We've always ready to put a plan together to help you seize the equity in your current home and get into a new one that's going to start building more equity. So that is definitely a path there. So